Hi friends, thanks for joining me. And today we're going to be working on an abstract project, and this is going to be a little bit different than what I typically use or do. And so I did have my little cheat sheet of my colors out, as you could see. And so before I get started, I would like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. It really helps me grow. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. So for today's materials list, I do have my watercolor paper, and this is a longer one, and you'll see why in just a moment. And so I have, of course, my clean water and my paints, my Kurtaki paints, and this is a number 14 round brush. Now, if you wanted to use something a little bit smaller, that would work as well. I thought this one would be kind of nice for the project that I have. And then I do have my little mixing tray here that I may be using. I'm not sure yet. And for this project, I will be sticking with all of the different shades of blue. And just real quick, I want to point that out to you. So we do have some absolutely gorgeous shades of blue here that I'll be using, and I am just sticking with the different shades of blue for more like a coastal feel, you know, with the blues. So we'll see how that goes. And so actually what I had done before I turned my camera on was with a little spray bottle, I did go ahead and I just real quickly sprayed the little cakes of paints to get them activated so that they'll be a lot easier to work with. So with all of that being said, let's get started on this. And what I'll be doing is I'm just going to be grabbing randomly different shades of blue, and I may even mix up a few shades. And I'll be working wet on dry. Okay, so I do have quite a bit of water on my brush, and a fair amount of color also, a fair amount of paint. And so I just want to go right across to the top with my blue, and we'll get that all painted in. I'll be leaving a little bit of white here and there. Some of the lines may be a little thicker or thinner. And you'll see, you know, the reason for all of that as we go along. So I'm going to just clean my brush off a little bit and pick up some of another blue. And this is going to be like a turquoisey blue. And then with these, we want, you know, the different thicknesses, or I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Now you can see there where I did touch a little bit of the blue from the first line of color that I used, and that's fine. They're just going to blend together a little bit, and you can see I have like different values going along, and that's exactly what I want happening. And so and it's just pretty random what I'm doing here, you know. There's no set thought process. This one is going to be dark. I want this one to be nice and dark. And this color is actually turquoise green, and it is such a beautiful, rich shade. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm not sure if that shows up real well in the video. I do all my videos on my phone, and while they do come out very nice, I wouldn't say that they're perfect all the time, especially if with giving the correct, you know, colors of shades and colors of what I'm working with here. Okay, so now these first two lines, I didn't take them all the way to the edge. However, on most of these, I really should be trying to do that a little bit better. So we'll see how that goes as I move along. All right, so then I'm going to grab a little bit of Prussian blue, I think, and kind of mix it in with that that light ultramarine that I used in the first one. And so with this, I want a little more water on my brush. And the look that I'm trying to get is actually, you know, some lighter shades and some darker shades, because then once we start to, you know, do the doodling and put in some of the cool abstract designs, it really will matter quite a bit. And so you can see that one is quite a bit wider. So now I'm going to leave just a little bit more space with this next line so that, well, you'll see when we get to the part where we're adding in the doodles and such. And so let me grab some of this ultramarine. Like I said, there's just so many cool shades here. Look at how bright and bold that is. That's just gorgeous. And we do want this to be a little bit darker. And you can see how I'm leaving a nice little bit of white in between there. And I think I'm going to grab some of that turquoise green / blue again. Maybe mix that in a little bit with that and just get yet a different shade. Look at how gorgeous that is. So with this one, I want to go, I think, just very light, very, very light. So to get that effect, I just want a lot of water on my brush and very little paint. And take it all the way to the edge on both sides. And now I think actually I'm going to put in an indigo, which is a very dark, very, very dark. Let me get a little bit of water off my brush to give it that very dark look. And you can see how quick and easy this is, and that's another fun thing about it. You know, it really is fairly quick to do, this part of it. Once we get to adding some of the doodles and the details, that's a little more time consuming, but that's what brings it to life and really gives it a lot of personality. Okay, so we're almost to the bottom. And with that being said, I want to grab some, let's kind of move that tray out, grab another one. And then I want to do some more of that very light blue again. And so for this one, I'll go close and I'm going to dab into that indigo color a little bit and let them blend together just ever so slightly. And as they begin to dry, they'll continue to blend and it will turn out really cool. I just love when these colors blend. You know, you let them blend a little bit and it just takes the natural time. Sometimes, you know, I will use a blow dryer to speed up the process, but I don't really like to do that because it takes away from the effects of the natural blending process. Okay, so for my very last one, I'm going to use a nice bright blue again. And let me grab just a little bit more here. And you can see why it's important to work wet on dry for this, because we want the definition of the two color, or of all the colors, except for where we intentionally have them blend. And so on this one, I'm just putting in a little bit more in a couple of areas so that as it's drying, there will be different values in that. All right, so there's all of our blue lines. You can see how quick and easy that was. It's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun, you know, kind of taking a look at the different shades of blues. Now, I'm going with coastal colors on this, just because that's pretty much shades that I really like. But if you like the oranges and reds and rose color, or if you like different shades of green, you know, choose your own color palette and have fun with it, because there's so much that you can do. You know, it's just the creative process. So On that note, we're going to give this just a couple minutes to dry, and then we'll continue on with the next part of this, which is going to be adding some doodles and possibly even some other colors. We'll see. We'll give this a couple minutes, and when we come back, we'll see what comes to mind. Okay, so we've given this a little bit of time to dry, and I believe we're ready to start having some creative fun with this. And so I'll be using Micron 05 nib black marker and some paints. I have my small, this is a number 3 paint brush, and my mixing trays, of course, and then some water. So to get started with this, really what we want to do is just come up with all kinds of fun designs and get as creative as you want with it. Do as much or as little and just have fun. So to get started, I do want to do as much as I can with my marker before I start putting paint down, because then I would have to wait for the paint to dry or worry about smearing it and so on and so forth. So anyway, to get started, like where I intentionally left the white, I want to go through and just make some small dashes all along the way here. And I knew that when I was painting it, you know, that's why I wanted to make sure that I left a little bit of a gap in between the two colors. In watching some of my previous videos, I think I say this in every video, but I do love my dashes and dots and lines when I'm doing abstract work. I don't know, I just love them. And so you will be seeing definitely some dots along the way here. I may even pull out my white gel pen. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use that or white gouache. I'm kind of leaning towards the white gouache at the moment, only because it's a little more heavy duty, so to speak. And you can see on this that the indigo, the darker colors, as they dried, they did lighten up a little bit. They're still dark and, you know, dark enough and have a good contrast with the other shades, but you know, with all watercolors, they do have a tendency to dry lighter, if I didn't mention that before. Okay, so there we go with that. And then I think on this top one, what I want to do, and I'm going to tilt this just a little bit, and I just will make sure that I'm keeping it within the frame of my camera. Okay, so with this, I'm going to do a little roller coaster. And I don't even know why I came up with that name for it, but, and then, and see, here I go with my little dots. And there'll be more dots along the way, I'm sure. And as I mentioned before, or earlier in this video, that, you know, if you wanted to work with a different color palette, that would be really cute also. And this kind of stuff, you know, it's just fun to do these abstracts and come up with ideas. You know, you get your creative mind going and you come up with different ideas that you can use in future projects, and, you know, just have fun with it. What else might I want to put in with markers? I think actually what I want to do here is just kind of I'm going to put in some ovals. This is a cool pattern. And then I may drop like a, oh, maybe a different shade in the middle, like a dot in the middle of these. And you know, another thing that you could always use are the paint markers, which I may grab one of those to do this, you know, to fill in the middle of these. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so I do have a nice blue. This is a brush marker. So on one end it's a brush, on the other end it is a fine tip marker. And I just want to use this brush. Put little dots in here. Okay, see how that just kind of brings them to life. I'll set that aside. In fact, I may use those a little bit more than paints themselves, just because for the same reason. It's easier to work with, it's a little bit quicker, there's no drying time, and they're just as much fun. And so I think with that being said, I'm going to grab yet another one. And this is just a different shade of blue. And here, and you can see I'm almost working from the inside out, other than that one up top, but now this isn't a huge contrast, it's just enough of a contrast in shade. And these markers are a lot of fun. If you put down the marker and then grab a paintbrush with just some water on it, you can always do some really nice blending. I won't be doing that today on this project. However, I have done it in the past. I'm not sure if it's an actual project that I've put out on YouTube, but I have done it in the past and it's a lot of fun. You can really do some cool stuff with that also. There's just so much cool stuff out there to do. And I hope that you can see, you know, that I'm doing this crisscross. And I know my hand could possibly be in the way. All right, see how fun this is. Okay, so now, whoops, now that I have those little X's in, I'm going to go through with my black marker, and I'm just going to do a dot in the middle of these. And with just this little bit that we've done so far, look at how much texture, it's just coming to life. Let's do that one a little bit better. There we go. And now this dark space, I'm going to hold off. I don't want to say what I may and may not do with that because I'm not sure yet. So I think at this point I will grab some of my white gouache. And at least get that out and ready, so if I do decide, I can just go ahead and grab my paintbrush and go, right? All right, so let's wet my brush, and as I mentioned, this is a number 3 brush, so it is quite small, and I just want to get a little bit of water going on my gouache here. And so in this darker area, I'm just going to put in some dots. Look at how nice they show up. And then it's kind of cool in the background where the lighter color had blended in with this darker. You know, it's very subtle yet there, and just adds a lot of texture, I think. You know, and then once you get one of these, 1 or 2 or 3, however many of these abstracts painted, it's nice to have them sitting around because you can just look at them and get ideas, you know, when you're working on other projects, whether it's for a border or, you know, from one abstract design to another, or even just with the colors, you know, the different color values that we have on here. So once you get these painted, definitely don't just put them away. Keep them out. Use them as a reference. It's great. Okay, look how cute that is. All right, so I'll set that aside. And I'm going to grab my black micron again. We'll get that out of the way. And so I'm going to do white dots, or dots in this white space. A little different than what we did up there, just because there's not really as much room. You could almost do a whole, you know, do all of these lines and then do just dots and dashes. And if you use different colors, it might sound a little repetitious, but in the end, it really isn't. It's a great visual. Like through here, you can see where it gets thinner. I just do a single dot. It just kind of fills up the area a little bit and adds some texture yet again. Okay, and it doesn't hurt to leave, you know, one of these just solid without anything on it. That's always kind of nice too. And with that being said, let's take a look at maybe, I think I'll use a marker. Let's see what other shades I have. I definitely want to stick within the blue family. And look at all the different shades as long as I'm pulling them all out. This is a nice set. Now this is a set that I picked up at one of the local craft stores. And you can always purchase these online as well. That's kind of a dark turquoisey color. That's kind of a cool color. And I just might use that one because it is kind of cool. So in the description below, I'll actually put in a link for a set of these. It won't be this same brand because I do believe that this is a store brand. I'm not sure at this point. But I'll put a link down there for you if it's something that you might be interested in taking a look at or purchasing. Because they're a lot of fun to work with, and they're very versatile, you know, as far as the fine liner, the thicker point, you know, using them with, as I mentioned earlier, with water and a brush, and doing some great blending work. There's so much that you can do with them, and they're easy to store. They're easy to take along, you know, if you're going to the park or the beach and you want to take a little book to, you know, do some drawings or just keep yourself busy. They're easy to travel with. Okay, and then you can see these lines aren't perfectly straight. This is going to be a pretty busy one. It's going to look cool. Okay, so then here, might be easier just to go like this, every other one. And come back up. See, now how cool is this? Right? You're going to say, I don't know, Jaylene, how cool is it? I have to keep talking. Okay, and then back to this one. And I'm just kind of doing a very, very loose scribble, so to speak. All right, so there's that. That's a pretty busy looking one, isn't it? I like it. And that's why I'm going to leave this one just solid. I'm going to leave it alone because I really don't feel that we need anything there. Kind of slow it down just a little bit. And I'm kind of thinking I might go with dots again here, just the white dot. Well, no, I have dots there. So let's see, what should I do? I think I'll grab, let's see, I just need to get a little bit of an idea here. Okay, I think for this one, actually, I'm going to grab my marker. And for here, I'm going to skip that one for a minute. I got to think about that. And then I want to do little diamond shapes with a space in between. So it's not just a zigzag type of cut. And then, you know, there again, if you have favorite designs that you like to use, whether it's stars, I actually like to use hearts. So I am going to have to incorporate hearts in here somewhere. I always try and put at least one heart on each abstract piece that I do. It's just kind of like my little signature thing, I guess. And you can see there's really no, you know, there's no difficultness to any of this. It's just having fun. That's all this is about, is just having fun. The skill level is beginner, and probably even for the thought process, it might be a little more difficult than the actual designing itself. See how we're putting just a small little dot in there. Okay. And then, as I mentioned with the hearts, I think what I'm going to do is grab my micron marker, and I am going to put hearts throughout this bottom. And you can see I'm leaving quite a bit of room, and you'll see why in just a moment. You could use hearts, you could use little flowers. You know, any fun little design that you enjoy drawing. Okay, so now I do want to turn it around, being a little careful of those white dots that I just put in there. But now I'm going to do little hearts going the other way. A lot of times with the blues, it's fun to use maybe like a metallic silver or gold, you know, along with your design. I had thought about using some metallic paints and then chose not to, just to keep it a little bit more simple. Okay, so there is my little hearts going across, and I believe at this point I'm about done. I do want to leave that line silver or solid without any designs, and then also that blue line, I want to leave that. And I think that that really is enough for the time being. It's got a great look to it. I really like it, and I love the different shades and values in that blue, and then a little bit of the blending there. And so so that was pretty much it. You could see how quick and easy and fun it is, and you know, just come up with some different ideas and have, you know, create your own little thing. I am going to put down in the description some of these products that I've used and materials, so that you have an idea. If you know, if you're just starting out and you need a little assistance with that, they will be below. And until next time, ciao for now.